Hi everyone and welcome to Squirrel Pie Productions. My name is Tommi. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as DynamiteTrujillo. Welcome to episode 72 of my podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a new viewer, welcome. And if you're if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. It is a nice, gentle, rainy Thursday in April here on the Northern California coast where I'm coming to you from. I totally know what day it is and what month it is. We have a Ravelry group for this podcast that you should totally go check out and join if you haven't yet. And that is where you will find show notes for this episode, most previous episodes, and you'll also find knit-along stuff over in the Ravelry group. We have 2 knit-alongs happening right now. The first is the Spring Sweater Cow, and it's where you can make a sweater and, yeah, that's it. Make a sweater in spring and join in using the hashtag Spring Sweater KAL on Instagram and check out the Ravelry group for a couple of threads. There's an FO thread and a chatter thread where people are showing us what they've made and showing us what they're working on and what they're planning, and it's really, really great. I'm excited about it. Go check it out. The next make-along that we're doing is a fiber make along. So this one is hashtag on Instagram, FiberAlong 2019. And there's again a couple of threads in the Ravelry group. There's an FO thread and a chatter thread. And this one is where you can play with fiber, whether it be spinning with it, weaving with it, felting with it, either like, you know, you can felt like needle felting little animals or like flat felting onto things. That's probably also needle felting. I actually don't know. I don't know anything about felting. But anyway, get out your Rolags and your little puffs of fiber and your braids and your rovings and your whatevers. Your fleeces. Hey, if you have a fleece that you need to wash, go for it. Do it. Cool. So join that as well. I am really excited both about making sweaters and spinning right now. So I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to join me intentionally in those things and possibly win some fabulous prizes. So yay, that's it for that. Moving on to what I'm wearing. What is this, you say? Well, this is my stroker. It's a pullover that I knit last year? Yeah, last year. It's by Isolde Teague. It's wonderful. I knit it out of Harrisville Designs Highland, which is a worsted weight, woolen spun, 100% non-superwash wool yarn. And it's really wonderful. I love it a lot. This is one of my favorite yarns I've worked with for a sweater of all time. I really like it. And it was a yoke sweater. I was gonna say top down. I don't remember if it was top down or bottom up. That does not matter. The point is, if you may notice, I've got some buttons on it. I steeked it. What? Yeah, I steeked it. Check it out. So I knit this as a pullover. Oops, yeah. It's totally a cardigan now. I steeked a sweater. So, looks the same from the back. I added a spiffy new button band and some spiffy new buttons. And this is typically how I wear a lot of cardigans, is I'll just button the top and leave the rest open. So, I had this sweater hanging in my closet, and I never wore it. I knit it back when I was pregnant, and I finished it when I was really starting to show. And it's a negative E sweater. It's pretty form-fitting. And so I wore it a couple times when I was pregnant, but I didn't wear it that much. I was like, you know, I don't like how a form-fitting worsted weight sweater feels when I'm pregnant, so I'll put it away and I'll wear it a ton when I'm not pregnant anymore. And that didn't happen. I never wore it even after I stopped being pregnant. Part of it, I think, is that my body has not returned to what it was once before I was pregnant. And I think I talked a little bit about this in the last episode. I used to be really into form-fitting clothing. Everything I wore was tight, at least up top. Like my tops, the bodices of dresses, I liked everything super tight. And with my new body that I am still figuring out and getting used to and figuring out how to dress, I don't like that anymore. So this sweater was tight and I did not like wearing it, so I never wore it. And it was hanging there, and I was thinking about how I never wore it, and I was thinking about how steeking is going to be a part of my life in the near future, because I am steeking a Guthrie by Caitlin Hunter sometime in the future. I have not worked on that, but as soon as I am done knitting it, I will be steeking that. So I've been thinking a lot about steeking lately, and I was like, what the heck, why not steek the sweater, make it a cardigan, maybe I'll wear it more. So I did it. It was all very unceremonious. I pulled it out of my closet, I watched some tutorials, I read about steeking a little bit more, still not a whole lot though. I didn't do a ton of research. What I ended up doing is I picked out my middle stitch and I did crochet reinforcements on either side, and that took me a long time to figure out how to do. I ended up crocheting halfway up and ripping out my crochet chain a few times before I decided that I had gotten it right. And the first time I did it with this yarn. So with the same yarn that I knit the sweater out of, worsted weight, I felt like, oh, and also I was doing what I think is a single crochet, where I was just like, where you just pull it, you crochet and you pull it through the loop once. Anyway, I did like a really basic crochet. So that was really bulky. That seemed really bulky. So I tried to read up on it, and I tried to figure out what people used as the crochet chain yarn when they did sweater steeks. I don't think I came up with really anything specific, so I'm assuming that many of the tutorials assume that you're just using the yarn from the sweater. But I decided that I wanted to use something thinner because it just felt really bulky to me. I don't know what it's supposed to feel like, so I've never done it before, but it felt really bulky. It felt like it was adding a lot of material. So I went in my stash, I tried to find something non-superwash, sticky just like this yarn is, and thinner. All I could find in terms of like what I have left over, because I didn't want to break into like a new skein or something, was some yarn. I don't remember what it is. It's some old something or other, non-superwash, 100% wool, really scratchy yarn. And it's just like a sport weight, but it's like the wrong color, but I used it anyway. So here's what I ended up using. It's this like kind of pinkish brownish color, and it is a little contrasty, I feel like, in kind of a bad way, but that's okay. It's fine. And what I did end up doing is redoing it in that yarn, and I liked how it wasn't as bulky. So the things that I was confused about were, do I start up here or do I start down here? Does it matter, like, which direction you're going with the crochet chain? I don't know. Because when you're crocheting, the way I was crocheting, you have one side that looks like the knit stitch, and then one side that looks like kind of the purl-y side. I don't know. I could be totally talking out my butt here. I don't know. Anyway. So I was like, which way am I supposed to go? Like, which side is supposed to be on which side of the thing? And I just could not find anything. I feel like my questions were so stupid and specific that like nobody addressed them. So I ended up looking at some tutorials that used a double crochet, which is where you put the crochet hook through and then put it through again. So you're essentially doing twice the bulk on the stitch. And I think that's supposed to be more secure. I don't think I needed the extra security, but I ended up going with that because I saw more tutorials use that crochet stitch than the other crochet stitch. I came to determine in my own head that with that stitch, it didn't matter if you were going up or down because it looked the same to me on both sides. Anyway, I'm going into a lot of detail here. Point is, I did crochet reinforcements on either side of the middle stitch. And then I, pulled those two little things apart. And what I decided I wanted to do was add the button bands first and then steek it. I did that with one side. I picked up all my stitches. I started knitting, but the knitting became very awkward very fast because I just had too much material that wasn't allowing me enough room to knit a long button band like this without being really uncomfortable. So I was like, forget it, this is stupid. And so with half a button band on the needle and the other one not picked up yet, I steeked. I cut up the middle, I cut the thing open. It was beautiful and wonderful and glorious and super fun, but also so much more boring than, you think it should be. It feels like it should be really exciting, but it wasn't. Anyway, so I finished the button band. I picked up for the other button band and did that one. It was super duper easy. And then I had to find some buttons. I did not have any buttons on hand that I could use for it, so I went to my local fabric yarn shop, which has like a million buttons, but is your guys' place like this? It's so annoying to me. It's a small shop. It's a small local business. So they have like a million buttons, but they only have like 3 of each button in stock. I needed 9 buttons. So I looked through all the buttons that I thought would go with the sweater, and the only buttons that had enough for the sweater were these ones. So, and they're fine, but they're honestly a little too small. They're just little plastic, kind of black marbled buttons. But they're a little too small. So a lot of times I button the top 3 buttons like I like to do, and then one of them will become unbuttoned randomly. So I think what I need to do is just kind of close up my buttonhole just a little bit in one of the corners with some thread or extra yarn or something, and I think that'll work out fine. But I'm not gonna buy new buttons and re-put on the buttons because I do not like putting on buttons. I used embroidery thread to put on my buttons. And that's it. That's the story of my newly steeked, reimagined stroker sweater that is now a cardigan. I'm super happy I did it. I knew there was a chance that I was just like ruining one of my sweaters by doing this because I just kind of went into it and did it. But I did not ruin it. I made it so much better. I've been wearing this sweater so much since I did this, and I'm so happy because I love the sweater itself. I love the yarn. I love the fabric it created. I love the yoke. It's so good now. I love this sweater now, and I just didn't like it that much as a pullover, and I'm so happy I did it. It was so totally worth it. So hooray. This is my steeking stroker, and I love it. Okay, that's that. I have a finished object. Ta-da! I finished my Marled Mania cardigan, and this is a pattern by Stephen West. It is a cardigan where you hold 2 fingering weight yarns together throughout the whole thing, and you're meant to use scraps, so that's what I did. I used a whole bunch of different yarns. I used up a lot of scraps, which I'm stoked about, and I will stand up and show you what this one looks like. So there it is, and it's kind of one of these open front flappy kind of cardigans where everybody who makes one of these things takes a picture of it going like this, which is like not helpful in my opinion. But yeah, it's really long in the front and kind of shorter in the back. I did alter this pattern in one way. So this panel here, your kind of front flaps, you're supposed to do a bunch of decreases so that this decreases down to a point so that it ends up looking kind of triangular and it's smaller at the bottom than it is at the top. I decided not to do that as dramatically as the pattern called for. I still did decreases, but just not as many. And that's fine. I like how it kind of drapes. There's more fabric to drape open that way. Overall though, honestly, I don't like the sweater. I love how it looks, but it does not stay on at all. So the shoulder shaping is pretty much you just cast on and then you knit back and forth and you do a bunch of increases. You put your sleeves on holders, cast on the same number of stitches to add to the body, and then you add in your sleeves later based on that sleeve hole opening. Anyway, so it's kind of like a yoked yoke, man. But it's super like shallow. Like it constantly just does that. Like I could just be sitting there not moving and I'll do this. And I feel like I always end up like I'm in 8th grade and I'm wearing my sweater like this because that's how in the 90s you wore your sweater when you were in 8th grade and you were one of the cool kids. I'm not a cool kid in 8th grade anymore. I never was. I was never the cool kid. But anyway, I don't want my sweater to fall off my shoulders and I cannot get this stupid thing to not fall off my shoulders. So that's a bummer. You know, I've tried wearing different things under it. I've tried wearing like spaghetti strap kind of sleeveless stuff under it, thinking maybe the less bulk I have under it, the more easier it'll stay on. And it also just doesn't, it's just really shallow. Just the whole yoke is really shallow. I ended up thinking, okay, I can't wear this sweater like out or doing things. It'll be a nice like sit on the couch, just be cozy and wrap up because it's just pretty much a big giant blanket kind of sweater. But even that, like I'm not even doing anything. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm not doing anything. And I'm cuddled up with my cat at night and still slowly it's just like that. I don't know. That just doesn't work for me. I don't know if this is an issue with other people who make this pattern or if I'm just weird or if I did it weird or I don't think I have terribly broad shoulders or anything, but this one didn't work out for me that great. I mean, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm still going to keep it. I'm still going to probably try and wear it here and there. Like give it a chance every once in a while and see what I think, but I don't know. I made the smaller size. I can't remember exactly. I think there may have been 2 sizes offered in the pattern. And I think the bigger size had a deeper yoke, but based on the given information, I chose the smaller size and I don't know, just doesn't work. I don't know if the bigger size would have worked for me. But, I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. I still really like it. I love how it looks. I love everything about it. I love the open drapiness of the front. It's just like super cute and cozy. And I love how like the marling came out. I love marling Stephen West style. Holding 2 fingering weight yarns together and switching off as you go. I love that effect. Like I said, I used up a lot of scraps in this sweater. I love the overall color effect. I've got a lot of pinks and grays in here. I love this neon green section. I've got like some darker stuff down here. And then, I don't know. I love how it looks. I think it's wonderful and beautiful and fun. But I just feel sloppy wearing this sweater. But it's okay. We'll see. We'll see. I just keep doing this. I'm sorry if it's annoying. It's annoying to me too. And yeah, I could like try putting like some buttons and like maybe going like that or like a shawl pin. But that's too That's just too much trouble. It's alright. I like it. I just don't want to wear it. Anyway, let's take it off. I think that's pretty much all I have to say about it. I had a really good time knitting it. It was so fun to make. It came out like, I mean, look at this. This is like enormous. So I kind of wish I could just like cut out the sleeve and make it a blanket. And no, I know I probably could do that, but I'm not going to. So my Marled Mania is finished. It was fun. I enjoyed it, but overall it didn't quite work for me. But it'll live in my closet for a while, and we'll see what happens from there. Okay. I've put on my much more comfortable stroker sweater now. On to my works in progress. My first work in progress is living in one of my many fat squirrel bags, and it is the Calligraphy Cardigan by Hannah Fettig. I am knitting this out of Abundant Earth Fiber Verdant, which is 80% merino, 20% rambouillet, both US grown. And it is in the dark gray colorway. I don't think it's a colorway actually. I think it's undyed fleece fiber or whatever. I bought this at Stitches West this last February. I bought 5 skeins of it. I'm on my 3rd skein right now. Here's what it looks like all caked up. It's beautiful. It's a DK weight yarn. It's very soft. It is very soft. And I have got quite a lot done on it. So there it is. This sweater is a top-down raglan cardigan with a big ol' shawl collar and a big ol' button band, I think. Like a big shawl collar with a big fat button band, which I'm really into, so I'm pretty excited about it. It's just stockinette, and I really love how the fabric is coming out. It's a DK weight yarn. I'm knitting it on a size US 6 needle. My Licca interchangeable set is what I'm using. And this is really fun to work on because it's just stockinette. So this is the shawl collar right here. It's 2x2 ribbing. I cast on with a whatchamacallit, German twisted cast on, and got the sleeves on holders, and I am almost done with the body. So here's my tilting planet progress keeper. It's a pink puffball. And there is waist shaping in this thing, so as you go down the body, you do some decreases and then you do some increases. I have one more set of increases to go, and then I think I knit to like 15 or something inches from the armhole, so I'm pretty much getting really close to being done with the body of this thing. And then after that, all I have left to do are the sleeves and the button bands, and then I will have to find some buttons to put on it. And then it'll be done. So this thing is really nice, really straightforward. The pattern's fine. It's really simple, really easy, really basic, and I'm super digging it. I cannot wait until this is done and I can wear it. This is kind of exactly my style. I really like big shawl collar kind of cardigans. Put some big fat buttons on here. It's gonna be good. So, Calligraphy Cardigan. I'm pretty excited about this one. I have 2 skeins left after this one. So I'm pretty much thinking that I'm gonna have 1 skein for the sleeves and 1 for the button band, which should be plenty. If you have seen recent episodes, you know the dilemma that I am in possibly not having enough yarn. The pattern itself, published in the book, calls for 1 amount of required yarn, but the Ravelry pattern page calls for a different amount of yarn. I am short on both of those amounts, so I'm not sure how short I'm gonna be or if I'm gonna have enough, just because maybe I'll just have enough, who knows. I feel like right now as I'm looking at it, I'm probably just gonna have enough yarn, but who knows, I might run out. And you know what, if I do, my tentative plan is to try to take some Knit Picks Stroll Tweed that I have in my stash and possibly hold it double to finish off like whatever I need to do. Like if I am running out of yarn, maybe do the button bands first and then do the sleeves. And then if my sleeves are cut short, finish off the sleeves in this. Because I feel like doing the cuffs in something slightly different would probably be pretty fine. So this is a DK weight, this is a fingering weight. I probably hold this double, see how that goes. That's my current possible plan, but I might just buy another skein of yarn. But you know me, I don't like doing that. So it'll be fine. My next work in progress is my Virginia pullover, and this is a pattern from Lane Magazine, issue 6 of this one, which I have in beautiful real book format. And I am using Moonstone Dye Works, which is my hand-dyed yarn company, on the Merino DK base, which is 100% superwash merino in a DK weight in the tendril colorway. And I've done quite a lot of work on this as well. Here's what I have so far. And another really straightforward, really stockinette sweater, which is kind of my mental relaxing place, is a stockinette sweater. So I'm really enjoying this so far. I am alternating skeins, as you want to do if you feel like it with hand-dyed yarn. Here's the 2 skeins that I am using. And for alternating these 2 skeins, I am using the helical knitting method, which is a first for me. I've never done it before. I looked into it on Grace of Babel's Traveling Yarns YouTube channel. She has a really good tutorial on how to do it. To me though, it seemed a little like, why bother? Like it seems like a lot of trouble. I'm just gonna alternate them normally up like the back or the side or something. And then I thought, that's stupid, I should just try it because it seems really cool. And I did, and it's like not any trouble at all. It's probably a lot even easier than doing it the other way. So I'm really glad I did it. It's a really cool way to alternate skeins. So pretty much you're using one skein for one round, the next skein for the next round. So you could also do it with stripes, like 2 different color yarns that you're alternating. And it makes it to where there's no one place where you're switching skeins. You're literally switching skeins in a different spot all throughout the sweater. So theoretically or literally, I don't know which one. What's actually happening is there's actually a spiral going down the sweater of where you're switching skeins, but you do it in such a way to where it doesn't leave like a mark on your knitting, so you can't even tell, and it's really wonderful. And I really, really like that method. I'm totally glad I tried it and wasn't just lazy and not try it. So this sweater is pretty much the same on the front and the back. There's no like upper back neck shaping or anything like that. The construction was really simple, but something I've never seen before. You cast on and knit 2 rectangles and then do a 3 needle bind off for some of the shoulders, but you cast on with a provisional cast on. So you end up having your neck stitches still on holders for later. And then you join under the armholes and you knit straight up in the round all the way down. No way shaping. It's oversized, so there's some positive ease. Eventually, I think I'm supposed to be doing twisted ribbing at the bottom, but I'm not gonna do that because I don't like twisted ribbing in my stuff. I don't like the look of it. I like regular ribbing. So that's what I'll do. I'll probably do 2x2 ribbing, just ignoring what the pattern calls for. And then you add sleeves. So it's a drop shoulder. So there's no sleeve sleeviness other than just picking up the stitches you've already created here and knitting straight down. Super simple, and I like it. I like that kind of sweater. I am knitting this again on a size US 6 from my other Licca interchangeable set. This one is the regular sized tips. The other one was the short tips. This is a Progress Keeper from Charmed and Dangerous. It's a moon, and it's adorable. And I love it. I love how my yarn is working up in the sweater. This is one of my current favorite colorways. I love it so much. It's like kind of mossy greens with like a dirty kind of purpley pinkish, grayish, brownish sort of action. Also, it's a reverse stockinette sweater. So the regular stockinette side that I've been showing you is actually the wrong side. So you knit it inside out, so you're not purling the whole time. So this is what the sweater actually is going to come out like. Now I have been a little iffy about this. Like, do I really want to make it reverse stockinette? Because that's something I've never done before, and it feels weird putting the wrong side out, wrong side, because the right side is so pretty. But I think I'm going to go for it. I think I'm just going to follow the pattern and do it. And who knows, the way you pick up sleeves or whatever, it might be to where it doesn't really matter and you can maybe wear it inside out and wear both ways. I don't know, we'll see. But this is what it's gonna look like. I love it. I'm so happy with how it's coming out. I think it's really pretty. So that's the Virginia, and I'm having a lot of fun knitting on it. I'm on my first 2 skeins still. I think I'm gonna need 5 skeins, so we'll see. Yes. Again, Moonstone Dye Works in the Tendril colorway. That is living in my Woodsy and Wild bag. This is a really pretty project bag that I really, really like. I've got a few pins on here. That's a pusheen. That's yarn bowl soup. And that's a bat. Yay. Okay. My last project that I've been working on is something that I have not picked up in a while. And I'm really excited about it. It's living in my yarn chicken bag. This is from Gusler Designs. It's my granny stripe crochet blanket. This is a project that is so easy for me to pick up when I just don't feel like doing anything, because sometimes I get in a little bit of a knitting rut and I just don't feel like knitting. So what am I gonna do? Just sit there and do nothing? No. I'm gonna crochet, because it is so perfect for when I'm bored with knitting. I made a magic cake ball out of the leftovers from the Marled Mania cardigan. So all of the last, these are pretty much all of my sleeve yarns that I put into this. And here we go. I am, like, there's a right side and a wrong side. I have pretty much done, let's see, from about here up in the past week or so. And this thing's getting pretty big, but it still has a ways to go. So that's the whole thing. It's a very wide one. I feel like a lot of us, when we first cast these things on, made them too wide, and as they started getting bigger and bigger, we started realizing that we made them too wide. And what I did, like a lot of other people, is I tried to make it the size of my queen size bed, as if it could drape over and be like a full-size comforter. So it's huge. It's really huge. I want to say at least 300 stitches cast on or chained on. I don't know the terminology, but like way more than 300, not just like 302, like 350. I don't know, something like that. But it's really big. So I think we'll see how it goes, but I think I'm gonna stop when it gets to be a square so that it's not like a queen size comforter size, but we'll see. I love working on it so much. So I'm doing, oh, I was about to tell you what I'm doing, but I really don't know the terminology, so I don't know what I'm doing. But I followed a tutorial, not a tutorial, a YouTube video called Bella something. I'll put it right here. And that's how I learned how to do this blanket. I'm very inexperienced at crochet, and that video really taught me very easily how to do this. And I love it. It's so much fun. Every time I pick it up, it makes me want to do more crochet. I am considering buying a tiny hook so that I can do that top that's in Pom Pom magazine. I don't know what it's called, but I've got a picture over here. I really want to make that top. I'm really inspired to do it because I've been crocheting so much this past week. So who knows if that'll happen. I do have yarn in my stash to where I could do that. It's some linen yarn. It is Shibui Twig in the mineral colorway. It's a sport weight yarn, and it's linen, recycled silk, and a small amount of wool. And I think it would work for that top. So I don't know, I'm considering it. I bought this yarn, I don't know how many skeins I have, but I have like a tops quantity, and I bought it for this other sweater that I will just put on the screen because I don't remember what it's called, but that pom-pom one is really making me think about using it for that. So I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, Grony Stripe crochet blanket. I love it. Lots. It's so much fun to work on. Eventually, I would really like to do another one of these blankets in heavier weight yarn. So it's a little more the traditional kind of blanket that you have that your grandmother made you, you know, like some worsted weight yarn. I think that would be really cool. I am using a 3.5 millimeter tulip hook. These are my favorite crochet hooks, these pink tulip hooks. And every time, I don't have like a hook stash collection, so every time I cast on a new crochet project and I need a different size hook than what I have, I buy one of these because I really, really like them. All right, that is it. I love this thing so much. Oh my gosh. That's all my knitting and crocheting and yarny stuff. But you want to know what else I did? I sewed some napkins. What? How fancy am I? I have cloth napkins now. I don't know. I don't even know. So I got this bug up my butt to make cloth napkins, and I am so excited about it. So one of the kind of holdovers of being wasteful in our lives here is paper napkins. We have been kind of diehard dollar store paper napkin users for a really long time, and because they're super cheap and they come in huge packages, and the dollar store changed their napkins pretty recently and they suck. They're just not that good anymore, and they come in like a half size of what they used to come in, so they're not a good deal anymore. And so we haven't had napkins for a while, and I was like, why am I, like, my husband started like looking around for other napkins to start buying, and I was like, why are we still using paper napkins? Like, that's stupid. Like, we're wasting so much paper. I'm just gonna make cloth napkins. So I did it, and I tried to look on the internet to like look up some tutorials or something, and I just ended up kind of winging it, and I'm really happy with it. They're not anything, I mean, they are fancy, like they're really fancy, but they're not really like what's the word? They're not well made. They're in kind of my traditional style. They're a little slapdash, but they're really great and I love them, and we've been using them completely instead of paper napkins, and it's been freaking amazing and I love it. So this is what they look like. Pretty much what I did is I had a bunch of fat quarters that were a gift from my friend Carrie, so thank you, Carrie. All those fat quarters that you sent me are all napkins now. And so I took a fat quarter and I cut off this much of the edge of it to make it a square. And I didn't like do anything great. I just took the fat quarter, I folded it over to make square, I cut off the excess. So I took all my squares, I picked 2 fabrics to go together, and I put them right sides together, and I sewed a seam around the edge, and then I left, you know, like a little bit of unsewn piece. I trimmed off the selvage with pinking shears. I cut off little triangles for the corners, and I turned it inside out. I kind of poked my fingernail in at the corners to kind of try to get them kind of sharp. And then I ironed it. And then I sewed, I think it's called top stitching when you do that. I sewed another seam around the edge again, just to tack it all down. And that's it. That's what I did for every single one. And they're great. It came out really good. I was so pleased with how they came out. So they're, I don't know, that size, maybe what, 14 inches by 14 inches or something. And I love them. So I'll go through and kind of show you all the fabric. Half of these fat quarters were kind of this like woodsy fabrics. And then the other half was like this kind of like cutesy space fabrics, which, hello, so perfect. Look at these moons. They're so cheerful and bashful. Space bears. And this one is really cool. Those are moons and stars, in case you can't tell. And some planets. This one is so cute. Look at these space animals. Oh my god. This one, I had a little faux pas. As you can see here, I did not quite catch the innards in my top stitching. I don't care. It like really doesn't matter to me. I'll probably go back and fix it sometime, but I might not. Little pine trees. These last 2 that I'm going to show you are the first ones that I made. And as you can see, I'm just like pointing out everything that's sloppy about them because like, I don't know, just like who cares? Like this edge, I think there's a little more fabric on this edge than this edge, so it flips over like this. And I'm not going to be ironing my napkins. And this was the very first one. This one's really cool because this fabric is metallic. So this is my new napkin collection. There's 8 of them, and it's perfect because there's only 2 of us, and you know, we use a couple a day, and then I wash them, and then there's more, and it's, I don't know, it's awesome. I'm really glad I did this. It came out of nowhere, and I decided to do it, and it was so easy and so worth it. I'm super stoked on it. I love them. I love our cloth napkins. And that is everything. I like all my projects this week. I do have actually, so I have all of the leftover fabric from the fat quarters that I cut up. I considered sewing them together in like strips and like doing something quilty or piece together-y with all of these. I don't know. Maybe like a project bag or like a little like lap blanket or something for Lucy. I don't know, we'll see. Because I think that's kind of originally maybe why Carrie sent them to me, because they're kind of like cute and kid friendly, and so maybe she thought I would make something for Lucy. Of course not. I make stuff for myself. I'll make stuff for Lucy someday. Someday. Not now. Right now she's just too little. I'm excited about knitting her sweaters when she's like a little kid, but right now I'm like, eh. All right, everybody, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me, for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Show notes will be in the Ravelry group. If you would like to, please do join in on the make-alongs that I'm hosting right now, both on Instagram and on Ravelry. Hashtag FiberAlong 2019 and Spring Sweater Cal. Yeah. Have fun. And stay awesome. Bye.